Now, John McCain. He was shot down on October the 26th of 1967. I joined him 11 days later in the Hanoi Hilton. The difference between the two of us is huge. And I'll describe that to you here in a minute. And it's one of the main reasons, many reasons, why I'm so strongly supportive of him for President of the United States, because he is a great leader. And he proved it to us over and over again as a prisoner of war. John was the most seriously wounded, injured POW that I know of that came home. His right arm was broken in 3 places, his left arm was broken, his right leg was broken, he had a football-sized hematoma on his right leg. He had been beaten with the butts of rifles, and he had been stabbed with a bayonet. The only reason I'm convinced that he made it home was the Stars and Stripes paper, the Pacific military paper, and some other papers came out with a story about the admiral's son being shot down and captured, and likely captured, in Hanoi in 1967. And when they saw that, they realized they probably had a bargaining piece, a propaganda tool, because that's the way they think, propaganda, the communists. And so they figured if they could get John McCain and use him in some way, he would be worthwhile to them, so they gave him some treatment. They took him to the hospital. Not a lot of treatment, mind you, but a little bit of treatment to keep him alive. And then a few months later, they were calling him into interrogations and trying to get him to accept an early release. Now, in our code of conduct and in our policies within the camp, he was sick and wounded first to be released, and then in order of shoot down, first in, first out. Also, it would be part of a negotiated agreement, not released to a propaganda stuff. John was certainly wise enough to know in our camp we knew that those releases generally were oriented to help show the lenient and humane treatment of the North Vietnamese communists. And lenient and humane is anything but what we were receiving in that experience, because people were being tortured every day. So, John looked at the situation and he made the tough decision. The decision to either take care of himself and go home, or to risk what it would mean to say no. And he took that risk and he stood up and said no. For that, he received, he'd already been in solitary for about 5 months then, another 18 months in solitary confinement, a number of beatings, and treatment like no human being deserves to have. He made that decision based on the facts as they were, and based on the integrity and character that he has, and the training and discipline that he has about doing what's right, even when it's not comfortable, even when it's painful. And so I think, going back to what Secretary Gutierrez said a few minutes ago, in my work I do leadership consulting, and lots of times it relates to hiring. And the one thing that we say is, has done, will do. That's what the Secretary was saying a little bit ago. I ask you to look at John McCain's record. He has done it over and over again. We lived together. Well, we lived for about 30 feet apart for a couple of years, and then we actually lived in the same compound where we saw each other every day toward the end of the war. After we came home, I coordinated a reunion in San Antonio, Texas for the prisoners of war who returned in 1976 or so, and it was a very good reunion. Everybody had a good time. It went smoothly, it went well. John McCain was elected at that meeting to coordinate the next reunion in Los Angeles, California. The difference between my reunion and his reunion showed me what a leader he was, the vision he had, and the ability to pull things off. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about a man who can make tough decisions and who can lead and who is the real deal. And we need to get energized and elect John McCain and Governor Palin as soon as possible, November the 4th. Thank you.